Yes, choose your pain. Which pain will you take? The pain of growth or the pain of dying? Okay. And for those of you that have moved this journey with me, have known that I have different mentorship clusters where we talk about growth, where we talk about business, where we talk about purpose, where we talk about coaching and speaking, and that is all leading you to being fruitful, especially in the area God called you to be fruitful, especially in your passion, especially in your purpose, something that you were created for, okay? Not just a skill that you're going to attain. Yes, we attain so many skills, but again, when you tap into your power, your authenticity, there's nothing that beats that. But I've seen so many people that do not even take time to unveil, to understand, and they commit themselves to a lifetime of begging, they commit themselves to a lifetime of tears, to a lifetime of failing, to a lifetime of sinking. And it's as simple as saying, I am just tired of this. I am tired of this. I am tired of this kind of life that I am living. And I don't think I want average anymore. I don't think I want where people have to decide how much I get, what portion I get, and how I get to live my life. I want to get to a place where I have control of my life. And that is when I say, allow the pruning season, okay? Allow for the pruning to happen. And that pruning, you partner with God, because I've talked about decisions, and some of these things that I've talked about, you can always go back to the YouTube channel and actually watch them, because we want to bring this information close to you. I've talked about decision making, and one way I explained decision making, I said that this is a partnership. This is you saying, I want to partner with God for me to have a better life. I want to partner with God to make sure that I change the trajectory of my life. I want to partner with God, and those are the decisions that we make, the right decisions, the good decisions, the bad decisions, okay? And sometimes when we make the good decisions, it's you saying that, you know what, I want to place my will into your will, and that I will turn out to be the person that you want me to turn out, or I will get the life that you want for me to have, that you predestined for me to have. So you realize that we are constantly in constant partnership with God, choosing the life. If he says choose life, and you make a decision that helps you to choose life, that means you're partnering with him so that you can get the results that he wants you to get. Okay, so pain is going to happen no matter what. Whether you're going down or going up, it's both going to be painful. So choose where you want to go. And while we were talking about the dead things and pruning some of those things, you realize that God can prune, and you can also prune your life. And I want us to look at the dead things that are happening in our life. Sometimes they're the dead habits, okay? So many habits. When you look at your life, so many habits, there is a dead weight of laziness just lingering around you. And when will it get to a time where you will say that, you know what, I'm just tired of this dead weight of laziness. It's not contributing anything to my life. I've just been sluggard. I've just been throwing around dead weight. I've just been, going in circles. And I don't think I love circles, because I've said so many times that we don't choose seasons, but we can choose cycles. And seasons come and go, like we have good seasons, we have bad seasons, we have seasons for different things, okay? Even in a weather, even in life, there's so many seasons. So we don't choose, because seasons happen and go. God controls the seasons. But when it comes to the cycles, you can choose a perpetual cycle of failure because you have failed to move away or to break off or to prune the branch or the dead branch of laziness in your life. So you realize that you have to make sure that you take that chance. And sometimes it can be bad eating habits. So many of us are using bad eating habits as a way to seal or to sear the pains that we feel or the emotions that we feel. So we don't want to feel them. We don't want to feel rejected. We don't want to feel abandoned, or we don't want to feel less than. And then so we take on the coping mechanism of eating. And you know that you're eating bad. But every time you go to the fridge, all you're looking for are the sugary things. Every time you go to your kitchen, all you're looking for are the junk things. Every time time you think about eating. Why? Because it gives you a momentary or a temporary kind of satisfaction in your denial of doing the good thing. Okay, so you realize that if you have a dead weight or a dead branch of bad eating, that is a dead branch that needs to be cut away, not only cut away, but it needs to be thrown into the fire. So you realize that you decide. Okay, it's not just God to decide. God decides, yes, he help us, the pruning and all that, but sometimes we have to take the matters into our own hands. Let me ask you a question. If you saw me with that big scissor or flower cutter or grass cutter or branch cutter, if you saw me coming your way with that, and you knew that there are branches that must be cut off your life, you know the first reaction for anyone would be to run away. The first reaction is to take off in the opposite direction. Why? Because no one of us wants pain. No one wants to be pruned. No one wants to be cut. Okay, but we have been told that the cutting is for more, for richer, and for excellent fruit. That means if you're talking about money, you're looking for more, for richer, for excellent money. If you're talking about health, it's for more, it's for richer, it's for excellent health. Okay? If it's about a marriage, now some of us have the dead weight or the dead branches of comparison. Maybe you came into a marriage or you came into a relationship, and maybe you had former relationships, and every time you are comparing what's happening, instead of grooming your marriage, instead of grooming your partner, or instead of cherishing, instead of nourishing, instead of focusing your energy onto the growth of this marriage, you're constantly comparing, and you're constantly playing down your mate and playing down your spouse and playing down everyone in your life. Why? Because that is a dead branch that is in your life that you need to cut away, and not just cut away, but throw away. Okay, so all these, so you realize that there's so many things that are attached to our growth that we must be able to cut off. If we're going to grow, we need to be lightweight. If we're going to grow, we need to have a sense of focus. If we have to be able to limit where our nutrients go, where our energy goes, because where our energy goes, that is where our attention is going to go, and that is where our focus is going to go. So I don't want your energy. Just imagine you're a tree and you have dead branches all over you, and you're trying so hard. Every water that you get from your taproot, you're trying to distribute to the dead branches, and yet they will never come to life again. So I want you to be able to realize those dead branches and say, you know what, in order for me to grow and thrive, I must go through the pain of pruning some of these things and taking them away. And some of us are excuses. We have all the excuses. We have talked about excuses so many times, okay? And we have excuse for everything, and your excuses are very valid. As in, if someone listened to you, they can clearly know, they can clearly see that yes, the economy is not good, okay? They can clearly see that, you know what, there's so many divorces happening. Divorce is it's at its highest rate right now, and I mean, everyone knows that relationships are not working out. Everyone knows, like, you have all the excuses. The men in this generation, we've had it all the women in this generation, but guess what? They are good women, they are good men in this generation. There are some of our marriage, if you're looking at marriages that are not working, chances are you're focusing on wrong things. Look at our marriages that are working, that are thriving, that are flourishing, and pick a leaf from that and say, you know what, it's time for me to claim, and it's time for me to cut off the dead branches of all the excuses I've been giving, and all the misinformation I've been feeding my mind. And it's high time I looked onto the people that are actually thriving in their marriages. They could be 2%, they could be 3% or 5% at most. But again, that goes to show that statistically there is a percentage that works. So why don't you just say, unplug yourself and say, I'm going to be part of the 5%. I'm not going to be part of the 95% that are losing their marriages, that are losing their relationships, that are losing their ministries, that are losing their companies. I am not going to be part of this. The economy, all companies are shutting down. That does not mean necessarily that you should be able to shut down. Even in companies, do you know that we prune for companies? Yes, we do. We prune for companies. That is why Some of us, because I've worked in human resource support for so long, you will decide and say, okay, the hard times call for hard decisions. And I've told this to the people that I work with for so long, that hard times call for hard decisions. And some hard decisions are going to mean that we're going to let some people go, okay? And we're going to let some budgets cut off and some departments. And we will say, you know what, marketing department, what you've been using, how much? You've been using what, 500 millions or in a year, whichever it is according to your company. And you will say, you know what, no, right now instead of 500 millions, we have 100 millions or we have 50 millions. Deal with it. Sort yourselves, okay? Cut your budgets. Learn to work with what you have, okay? And that means you're pruning for better, for more, for richer, for excellent results, because that is what we were working towards. That is what we want. So if we've given an example of trees, because trees are the first things that we see these examples with. But you can apply it to your life. You can apply it to your relationships. You can apply it to your companies. You can apply it to your calling. You can apply it everywhere. So if you realize that I've been having dead weight and dead branches inside of me, of excuses, of laziness, of lack of exercise, of indecisiveness. Some of us are so indecisive. And that is a habit that has become a dead branch, that even when you listen to all the motivators in the world and all the preachers in the world, you will never get yourself to act. You will never get yourself to even make a decision. You will never get yourself to move. And you've been feeding. You've been taking in, but nothing comes out. Now you're clogged, now you're stuffed up, and now you don't know what to do and what not to do. So you realize that there's a dead branch that you must be able to cut, okay? That you must be able to throw into the fire. I hope that you can be able to do this exercise with me. I know that pruning is hard. I know that, and sometimes us doing it on ourselves means reflection, means evaluation about where we are and whether that is where we want. If you find that that is not, you don't want to be where you are right now, you can make that decision and you can turn around and you can prune certain things off you. If you feel that what you've been producing is less fruit, it's not richer, it's not excellent, it's just mediocre, it's average, it's not taking you anywhere, if you realize that that's what's been happening, you take full audit of your life, and you realize that's what's been happening, okay? A lot of things were dead in your life. A lot of things were stagnant in your life, and you're just not paving way for newness, for aliveness, for vitality. You realize that, okay, this is the time that I need to make this decision. I need to prune off certain things from my life. I need to be able to make these decisions, and I need to be able to make way for new things. So you realize that if you prune, you get richer, you get you get excellent, you get more fruit, okay? And that means living a better life, and that means living a healthy life. And I don't want us to go minus me giving you these 3 things that I prepared for you. That pruning is very necessary and essential to proper health, okay? To proper health. We have to lose certain things in order for us to have more of certain things, okay? So if you're looking for vitality, if you're looking for energy, if you're looking for, your health is very, very important, because then you cannot expect more minus having the foundation of health. It's like saying, oh, I want to chase after wealth and riches, and I don't want to work on my health. Then you're going to be the dead rich. I don't understand that equation. That means if you want wealth, you must work on your health, because wealth can only come to those that are healthy. Wealth can only come to those that expect longevity, vitality in their lives. How are you going to enjoy your wealth if you're not healthy? Okay, so even in the tree, for it to be healthy, I know that we've done a little bit of digging. We've done digging extensively on my mother's side, and actually on my father's side more, but on my mother's side, there are more cattle keepers than anything. But I know for sure there's some instances where my mother used to plant certain trees, especially edible things like vegetables and stuff like that. And then he would say that she would go ahead to say that if you see a tree dying off and things are just not understandable, but it has enough water, you just don't understand, you need to prune it so that it can be able to get more vitality and more life and more healthy, to even give you more plump fruit or more plump leaves, okay, or whatever it is that you need from that tree. And I saw her do it so many times. You would literally see a plant that is withering off, that is weak, that is, that is about to die, and all of a sudden, yes, she goes ahead to till around and make sure maybe there's manure, there's everything, but she would tell us manure is not enough, water is not enough, because this tree has been, or this tree has been in this soil for so long. So now what we need to be able to look at what is exactly happening around it, what are the branches looking like, and sometimes you would see that there are some dead leaves, withering branches, and she would cut them off, and she was very good and very swift at doing it. She would nip them and tear them out and cut them off, and then she would put a sanja, that is those old dried off banana leaves, just to make sure that it retains moisture. And some people have used even grass when you're mulching. You've heard of mulching. That is in a way of for the direct sun not to heat the soil so that it can be too dry. I mean, you've put your manure, you've put your water, you've irrigated. Now you put your banana leaves, the dead ones or the old ones, or the just to make sure that there is life. But you can do all that and still the tree dies off, okay? So that means you need to look at what else. And I know that even in health, you realize that when you go to a doctor, they will ask you the vital things. They will ask you the eating. They will ask you, I mean, what are you feeding on? How have you been feeling? Do you take your vitamins, or do you take your fruits? Do you take your water? They will to ask you about the intake, but you realize that at some point they will ask you, have you ever dewormed? Or how recent? Or how long ago did you deworm? So that means something needs to get out of your system, because it's possible you could be eating and you're feeding the worms and they are flourishing and thriving inside of you while they're sucking life out of you. So the dead things are sucking energy out of us. The dead things are sucking life out of our marriages. They're sucking life out of our calling, life out of our purpose. They're sucking literally life out of everything, and yet they're never going to return to be living things anymore. They are dead and they're going to remain dead. So the best thing is to cut them off and throw them in the fire. So even when it comes to your health, you realize the doctor will, how long ago did you do this? How long ago did you do this? So how did you deworm? And they will ask you, do you exercise? Okay, as in, they will ask you about healthy eating, okay? They will ask you about those things just to make sure that they are taking care of your general health and not just eliminating a few things, okay? Until they get to a place and say, you know what? I think now this is it. I think we must be able to do these tests. And when they do their tests, then they get to find out, oh, this has been the problem all along. So I don't want you to berate your own growth. I don't want you to berate your own getting into abundancy, richer and excellent life. No, I want us to get there sooner, because I want us to enjoy more. Just imagine you get to procrastinate about your growth, you get to be too dilly-dally about your growth, you get to be weak about your growth, to be lazy about your growth, and then you decide to grow at 50 or at 60, and maybe, I mean, you're not strong enough, you're not, the vibe is going down, and you're just not going to enjoy yourself. Is it good? Yes, it's good that, yes, you've woken up at 50 or at 60. But how about you wake up at 30? How about you wake up at 20? How about you wake up? Because God has positioned so many of us, me inclusive. I am just one of the workers in the vineyard. There are so many people that are talking about good things, that are motivating you, that are pushing you, okay? And what we are pushing you to do is wake up while you still have time. Wake up because wealth is supposed to be enjoyed, okay? Vitality is supposed to be enjoyed. Strength is supposed to be enjoyed. The strength of your youth is something you cannot trade for anything. It's something that you cannot take for granted, okay? okay? You want to be able to drive your Lamborghini when you're still, you know, in good shape. You still want to, whatever it is. I know so many of you are not looking forward to those things or calling them worldly things, but so what? If you have a Lamborghini, drive it. If you have a Ferrari, drive it. If you have a good Porsche car, why not drive it? They're meant to be driven. You're meant to live in a good house. You're meant to eat well. You're meant to take your children to a good school. You're meant to marry well, okay? Not to just settle for anything because, you know, some of us settle because of fatigue. We are so tired. We've been running and we've been, you know, doing so many things, and now we are fatigued and we're like, you know what, if that is the food that is available, I will eat it. If that is the man that is available, I will get married to him. If that is the woman that is available, I will marry her because of fatigue. And then some of us don't know what we want, okay? We don't know what we want. But even when it comes, we never know that it has come. Even when it is in our vicinity, we never know that it has come. So pruning is essential to health, to proper health, to excellent health, to richer health. And I need you to be able to get into that. And then pruning is also healthy, or it's also good for your own safety. Remember the pain, the cost that we talked about, the pain of dying or the pain of growth. Choose. Now, if we decide that we want the pain of growth, we are deciding that we want the pain of, that we want the pain that flourishes us and thrives us, but that pain has a cost, okay? Now we're saying that pruning is good and vital and necessary for safety. Just imagine so many dead things in your life, so many dead branches in your life that are causing chaos, are causing drama, are causing confusion, okay? And you're just not safe when you're functioning in confusion, when you're functioning in meltdown, when you're functioning on pressure. You're just not safe when you're functioning outside of the safety perimeters, okay? So some of us, because of baby daddy issues, of mommy issues, some of us because of girlfriends we never want to go, they ghost us, and then we tie ourselves or we super glue ourselves on them, and it's causing a lot of pain, it's causing a lot of pressure. That person is not supposed to be in your life. Can you gracefully let them go? Can you just release them? Can you bless them and let them be on their merry way? But we are not choosing safety, we are choosing chaos all the time and drama by attracting all the deadliness in our lives, all the dead things in our lives. I mean, if they don't want you at that job, they have behaved like that, they have done all sorts of things. I know of supervisors that have behaved, have done all dubious things to make sure they communicate to you, I don't need you, instead of just telling you that I don't need you. And sometimes we are holding on for our dear life. I understand. Sometimes you feel like holding on, but sometimes for your own safety, for your own clarity, for your own, as in for your own zest, for your own goodness, you have to choose certain things and you have to let go of the dead things in your life. And some of those dead relationships could be even relationships with your own family. It doesn't mean that cut them away and never talk to them again. No, sometimes it means love them from a distance, okay? I've asked people, do you necessarily have to go home for Christmas or for Christmas holiday where there's chaos and where there's drama and where there's, you know, all sorts of weird things? Sometimes you can send your mother something, you can take her out and you can tell her, no, I'm not coming on Christmas Day. Why? Because you're choosing your own sanity and you're choosing your own safety, and you don't want, because there's no growth in drama and there's no growth in chaos, okay? And the third thing is growth or pruning is very essential to our thriving. Remember, we have a saying, you and I, that we are in our season of our life where we don't want to just sink or just survive, but we want to thrive. Now, if we want to thrive, remember, we're talking about more fruit, richer fruit, and excellent fruit, and that is the best definition of us thriving with the things that God has given to us right now. We just don't wait for better things to thrive. We thrive with what we have, the means that we have right now, as we plan and grow into bigger things. So if pruning is essential to thriving, that means you can be healthy and still check your life and say, are there dead things in my life? Okay, if there are dead things in your life, I remember when we were starting the business mastermind in the business club, we went through, I asked them, I mean, there's so much money out there. Why don't you have that money? You could have gotten so much money. You could have earned so much money. Why aren't you earning that money? And my goodness, we went through 100 reasons as to why people are leaving money on the table. And all the business people in the business club looked and said, okay, I had never gotten time to write them one by one, that laziness, procrastination, lack of knowledge. I don't know how to do digital marketing. I don't know how to collaborate. I don't know how to do this and this. I just don't know how to start, because there were those that actually came into the business club minus knowing how to start, and now they have started off. Most of them are thriving. Most of them are growing. They have chosen the pain. They have chosen the pain of investing in themselves, and them coming to the boardroom every single Friday to talk about business. And that is a pain, because maybe they have other, things to do, but they have chosen that constant pain and saying that, you know what, I am targeting after 6 months, after a year, after this period of time, I don't want to be the same person I was. I don't want to earn the same kind of money. I don't want to manufacture things at the same level. I don't want to operate my business at the same level. Some of them, we had to get their businesses out of the briefcases and get them to register their businesses and start functioning and start running a real business, okay? And some of them, from manufacturing to less to manufacturing more, helping them how to hire better, so you realize that they have taken the pain of growth and they have taken matters into their own hands and saying, you know what, I must grow, come what may. Okay, so pruning is essential to thriving. Maybe you've been successful, but you've not been thriving. Maybe you had enough, but not abundancy. But here, the Bible talked about it in John 15 and verse 2, where it says that he cleanses and repeatedly prunes every branch that continues to bear fruit, to make it bear more fruit, richer fruit, and excellent fruit. And that is what I wish for you. More fruit, richer fruit, and excellent fruit. You enjoy it. You love it. You live for it. You wake up every day energized to face another day, to fight one more day, and to make sure that you accomplish your dreams. And that is why we are here. That is why we are on earth. And that is why we're here to even transform other people's lives. So I need you to be able to love yourself more and choose the pain that is good for you. And if it's the pain of growth, then you and I are choosing that, and we are choosing to thrive. So I love you, and I hope that you have a blessed time while you make your choice.